After that night, sleep was a stranger. My own voice, captured on that cheap magnetic tape, just kept looping in my head. I must have played it 100 times, trying to decipher why he'd recorded it in the first place. What was the point? Then one night, huddled under my blankets with the headphones pressed tight against my ears, I noticed something new. Something I'd missed before. Right after my laugh, almost hidden in the background, there was another sound. It was a faint hum. It sounded like static at first, but slower, it felt deliberate, almost like someone whispering just out of reach. I cranked the volume dial, the plastic groaning in protest. And that's when I heard it clearly. It was Lucas, his voice buried deep under layers of noise. He said, "If you're hearing this, you found me." My whole body went cold. It felt like an electric shock. I immediately rewound the tape, my fingers fumbling, certain I'd imagined it. But no, it was still there, his voice a ghost in the machine. "If you're hearing this, you found me." What did it mean? He was gone, vanished. No one, not his parents, not the police, knew where he'd gone. But he had left this breadcrumb. This message just for me. The next morning, the thought of school felt impossible. I grabbed the mixtape and took the bus out to the old bridge, the one where they'd found his empty car. The air was colder than I remembered, heavy and still. It was the kind of oppressive silence that makes the hair on your arms stand up, that makes you feel like you're being watched. I pulled out his old recorder, the one he used to carry everywhere, its silver casing worn smooth. With a trembling hand, I pressed play. The same hum from the tape filled the air, soft at first. But then it grew louder, more insistent, almost as if the wind itself was answering back, harmonizing with the recording. And then I heard it again. His voice, clear as day, echoing across the river. "You ever feel like you're not supposed to be here?" They were the exact same words he'd said to me right before he disappeared. But this time they sounded different, calmer, resigned, like he'd finally found the place where he belonged. I don't know how long I stood there on that bridge, just listening to the empty space where his voice had been. The tape eventually clicked off, the sudden silence jarring. But the sound didn't really stop. The wind kept humming that same low, steady note. I looked down at the dark, swirling water of the river, and for a split second I swear I saw him. Standing there in the rippling reflection. He was smiling, a faint, knowing smile, like he was waiting for me to finally understand. I blinked, and just like that, he was gone. I don't know if it was real. Maybe I imagined the whole thing. Maybe grief is a powerful hallucinogen, making you see and hear things that just aren't there. But when I finally got home, my hands numb from the cold, I noticed something else. The little red light on the recorder was still blinking. It had been recording the entire time I was at the bridge. My heart pounded against my ribs as I rewound the new tape and pressed play. There it was, the sound of the wind, the eerie hum, and my own voice, whispering his name into the cold air. But underneath it all, faint and broken like a radio signal from a distant star, was his voice one last time. "Don't stop listening." That was the last thing on the tape. I never played it again. Some nights when the rain drums against my window pane, I swear I can still hear that sound, the static, the low hum, like the world is remembering something it lost. I still don't know what really happened to Lucas. Maybe he ran away. Maybe he fell. Or maybe, just maybe, he found a place where all the noise in his head finally made sense. But every time it rains, I think about that mixtape. I think about the breath between the words, the place where he said the truth lived, and maybe he was right. Maybe that's where love stays too, in the quiet, in the static. In the spaces we never quite managed to fill. This was Midnight Tailies. Thank you for listening. If you were moved by this story, please consider liking and subscribing for more Tailies from the quiet hours. We'll see you again next time.